Hey YouTubians, it's Tony here from We Try Anything. Channel likes try anything so you don't have to. And in today's video, what we're going to take a look at is another watch from Casio, with this watch being the Casio W-729, which has a module number of 1822. Now, this watch, I believe, harks back to the 90s, I believe, from what I've seen on some of the posts on the internet and such. And I couldn't find much information on this watch, other than that this watch is available in a few other colours and stuff like that. But there's minimal information on this watch, so I don't know how rare it is. I've looked through Argos catalogues from the 90s and stuff like that, and this watch is a very hard watch to find in terms of information on and stuff like that. So what I'll do is I'll talk about the actual materials that are used on this watch. I'll give you some of the sizes, I'll show you some of the functions, or gloss over some of the functions, because I will create a tutorial video on this watch. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it on my wrist to say what it's like to wear. Now, first of all, it's another eBay purchase that I've done recently, and the reason why I mention that is obviously this watch is worn. I mean, this strap is well worn, as you can see, and I have washed this strap as such. And the only thing I will say, it is missing its strap retainer. Now, finding a strap for this can be quite hard, especially an authentic Casio strap that, as it were, complements the colouring in this watch. And I have only found one which is based in like an eBay seller in Europe. So I do feel that, I'm not going to say that this watch is rare, but it is quite hard to find information about it, because it's definitely not listed on Amazon. The only place I've seen this watch is on eBay. And the other thing, as I say, there's not many parts that I've seen that you can get that will complement the colouring of this watch. As I say, you can probably get other straps, and they tend to be black, I think, which I've seen from a company called watchbattery.co.uk. And as I say, there's only one seller on eBay that I've found the actual green nylon strap that you can get for this watch. So it's not the most common of watches that I've featured on this channel, but it's definitely a good looking watch all the same. So to start things off, the actual case to this watch, you are looking at a plastic resin case, which obviously is painted, so it's got a painted silver round towards the lugs at the top and bottom. Obviously the bezel does have a very nice, as it were, like a polished, I wouldn't say polished, like a little bit shiny. It's got a nice green to the sides and obviously the grey to the top, which complements the actual strap very nice. The sizing of the resin strap, you are looking at about 38mm. From top to bottom, you are looking at, or what would be known as lug to lug, you're looking at about 45.5mm. Case thickness from the stainless steel back to what is known as a spherical acrylic resin glass, you are looking at about 30mm. Inner lug width, you're looking at about 18, and the nylon strap I have measured, you are looking at about 19mm. Now this, as I say, is the strap that does come with a watch, and you can tell it's been well worn, and the amount of dirt that came out of this strap was just unbelievable. So, you know, I'm not saying it's a reflection of the seller, but obviously this watch is a say 20-year-old watch, maybe 25, so obviously it's going to pick up some dirt along the way. But it is a nice strap that does complement this watch, obviously, with it being a nylon stroke kind of leatherette, or, you know, like fake leather sort of strap. But it does complement the colouring of this watch, and especially how, you know, the sporty nature of this watch. Now the dial, I've got to say, I really do like the look of this dial. Obviously the top part of the dial measures seconds, and underneath the graphic measures, I believe it's in the minutes, so obviously it goes up to 60 seconds, and then it'll start going down towards the 60-second mark and thereon. And it does add a little bit of nice animation to the actual display, really. And I don't find the font on the LCD too small, but people with deteriorating eyesight, it might not be the watch for them. But interestingly, it does have a very nice display. Obviously, you've got a lot of information on there with the day of the week, the month, the date within the month, and then the time as it's listed with PM. And it does support 24 hours as well, which you can do through the actual adjust feature that you get within the, I think it's time setting mode, or what Casio tends to call it on these sort of watches. It's not the heaviest of watches either. I just quickly mentioned that you're looking at about 41 grams in weight. But the other thing with this watch is that obviously you do get the 3 metal pushes that you do see poking out from the left and right hand side of this watch, but you also have a couple of pushers one there and one there, and obviously they do what they indicate. So you've got one which indicates the light, and then you've got another one which indicates start stop, which will work for certain parts of the actual, depending on what mode you're in. So obviously the countdown timer with this watch has stopwatch, and also it'll allow you to amend any time and stuff like that when you are adjusting times and dates and stuff like that. So it's a nice little handy, helpful feature. Other than that, I mean, it's got a nice stainless steel back, and as I say, it does have a spherical acrylic resin glass, which is prone to scratches, I will add. I mean, I have used Polywatch to get a hell of a lot of scratches off this watch, which has really aided in the look of this watch. But other than that, it's just a very nice looking watch. It does have 100 meters of water resistance to this watch, and it is based on a quartz movement. Now, in terms of battery life, I couldn't say what the battery life is on this. I mean, I do get people asking me certain things about certain watches, like battery life on certain watches, and I have researched this watch and I can't find anywhere, CASIO, anywhere that mentions the battery life on this. So I'd say a couple of years being conservative, but obviously that's from a new battery being placed into it. Now, other than that, it does have a electroluminescent backlight display to it. So obviously if I press this button here, you won't see it much, but I will feature it in just a little video clip just showing you just how the actual electroluminescent display looks, and it is quite nice. I mean, obviously from what I read from Casio, the actual electroluminescence does deteriorate over time, and obviously the more that you use it, obviously it will deplete the battery a little bit, and it does seem to just last for I believe about 1 second, maybe 1.5 seconds, which is just enough to glean the time and the date and maybe the date within the month or the day within the week. So it's a handy little feature to have if you're looking for to understand the time within the dark. Now, as I say, it has got 12 and 24 hour format, but the other thing it has got, which you'll notice in these little areas down here, it has got, as I've mentioned earlier, it's got a timer, it's got a stopwatch, it's got an alarm, and it's got dual time built into this watch. Now, what it's got a stopwatch, it's got a timer which has a countdown range between 1 second and 24 hours, and the alarm will sound for about 10 seconds when it reaches 0. And the other feature that it does have, from my understanding, is that it does have an auto repeat function, which is very handy if you're doing sort of interval training and the like. So obviously you can set it for 5 minutes, and then obviously it will auto repeat when it reaches 0 for another 5 minutes, and then it will carry on until you stop it every 5 minutes, or you can set 10 minutes or whatever, up to 24 hours. And obviously you do have that very nice little feature where you've got the time showing within the countdown timer display as well. So it's great for interval training, as I say, and also for anything that requires a countdown timer to it. So a handy little function in that. And what you'll also notice is that there is an underline, or what will be an overline, above the actual part of the watch. So you got TR, ST, AR, DT, indicating which mode you're in. Now, the next mode is stopwatch. Now, this stopwatch, let me just press it here, will measure 100th of a second, and it has a measuring capacity up to 24 hours. Measuring modes, which are elapsed time, split time, and first and second times. And it also features an auto start. So, for example, when you turn the auto start on, it will count down for 5 seconds, and then the stopwatch will start, which in essence, really, if you are like a runner and stuff like that, if you do press the top button, you get yourself ready for a run, you've got 5 seconds to get ready, and then you're off as soon as the timer or the elapsed timer starts. So great little function, and especially for a watch of this age, really. And also, this watch does feature what is known as a target time function, where you can set the time for the stopwatch. So you can set an elapsed time that you want it to go up to, and when it reaches that predetermined elapsed time, it will sound a 10-second alarm. So if you've got it in another mode and you are running, and say for example you hit the 10-minute mark on a run, and you know it's time to go back, then obviously, say if you've got it in normal timekeeping mode, it will beep to say that you've ran for like 10 minutes and stuff. So handy little function if you are in a different mode and you're not taking any kind of notice of the elapsed time that this watch is featuring. The next mode it's also got is the daily alarm and hourly time signals. So it's only got one alarm. It's got nothing special in terms of the 5 alarms and stuff like that. It has got one alarm which is easily set, and obviously it's got the hourly time signal, which means it will beep on the hour every hour. And then finally, it's got what is known as a dual time function, and this will allow you to keep track of separate times to your main local time. So you can set it for another time zone around the world, like how you would set the main time. So I mean, obviously this is totally inaccurate, but you could have that set, say, like a couple of hours in front, so like it could be 6:45 p.m, or you could have it set like a fair few hours behind at 6, what would be 6:10. Now obviously if you are time zones, then this wouldn't really be accurate, but you can set this up as you would do, you just keep your finger on the adjust button, and then you can start setting, as it were, the dual time as and so you please, really. So you can set it, say if you were going abroad or anything like that, you can set that dual time so it'll work for that local time zone while you're still keeping what would be, in my instance, the UK time zone going on here. So dual time, it's always a great little function, especially for people who travel around the world or who deal with people in different parts of the world, as in loved ones or maybe business associates. And that's it really. It's got quite a fair few functions for such a watch, but I really do like the display on this watch. I love the actual animations that go up and obviously go up in increments, what's going on here. And I just love the look of it. It looks quite, I don't know, it's quite a sporty looking watch, which is probably what it's intended to look like. And it is a nice looking watch, especially with that strap complementing the colours on the bezel. And I just think, another classic from CASIO really. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop it on my wrist and say what it's like to wear. Now on the wrist, I've got to say it is a good looking watch. It does wear well. There's no hand inhibitions going on here, and it does wear comfortable with that strap. It feels quite warm in comparison to some of the actual as it were resin straps that I've worn. It's got that nice fabric feel to it, and it just feels, I don't know, I know it sounds strange to say, but it feels like you got a piece of clothing on your wrist. Now please ignore that. Obviously the strap stay or the strap retainer has broken off, and I was going to put just a random one on here, but I just thought to show you how these watches wear. But other than that, it is nice to look at, and especially the way it wears, it does wear really well. Now in terms of from a distance, you can still glean the time from it, and obviously the date and the day, and the graphic display always gives that watch a little bit more motion than say some of the other watches that I have featured on the channel. But as I say, the overall design of this watch is unique in that you've got two buttons, top and bottom, which is a bit different. The only other thing as well, obviously if you do have a watch like that, the nylon strap will get dirty depending on what you do. So any gardening or anything like that, you will notice the dirt on there, as will you notice any scratches that this spherical acrylic glass may pick up. But overall, I would say it's a nice watch. It's got quite a few nice functions to it, nothing too overbearing or hard to understand or hard to learn, and it's one of these watches that there's not very much known about it, which I think adds to the kind of unique nature to the CASIO W-729. And if you do get the chance to own one, maybe to add one to your collection, then I'd say thumbs up, go for it. It does look nice. It will wear very well on the wrist. And also, if you're not happy with the strap, you could probably get something like a NATO or a nice leather strap, maybe a green leather strap to just complement, dark green or something, just to complement the colouring really. But other than that, if you do get the chance, then go ahead, buy one. If you do buy it from eBay like this one, you may have to kind of mess around with the actual module and stuff like that, like I did with this, because the module was all squiff and obviously the buttons weren't working, so I've had to repair this sort of watch. But that's only because obviously that's what you get from eBay, and it is a bit of a lottery what you do get from time to time from eBay. But if you do get the chance, as I say, to own this watch, then just go for it. It definitely gets a thumbs up from me. So thank you for watching this review, and if you did like this review, then click on the like button down below. If you want to see more watches and a tutorial of this watch coming soon, then click on the subscription button below. Then thank you for watching this review, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Goodbye.